Good evening. Welcome to the Conversations About College show. My name is Dr. Michelle Traveler, and I am the host of the video podcast Conversations About College. This is a show where college graduates come on to share their personal experiences, their challenges, as well as their advice. So I have a guest tonight. Her name is Dr. Kelly Greene. But before I bring her on, I want to tell you about an online course that I have. It is a course that basically helps students. So it's a 4-week online college success course at theeducationplug.com. I'll have my moderator put that in the chat. It is in the chat. So I am going to go ahead and wait for my guest, Dr. Kelly Greene, to join me. I see Dr. Amy Diaz is on. Hi, Dr. Diaz. We have the president of Gateway Community College on. She was a guest as well, and she is a professional higher educator that is passionate about students and student success. So I want to again thank you, Dr. Diaz, for coming on. I just text Dr. Greene, so I know that she is going to join us very soon. So while we're waiting, again, Kelly Greene, she says she does not see me yet. Okay, now she sent a request. So we did a test. So hopefully, Greene, when you can see me and hear me, let me know. Sometimes I don't get to see my guests. Instagram does this weird thing where people can see me and I can't see them. So I did accept your request the first time. Let me go ahead and try again. Accept. I'm accepting it again. It's always fun when you're doing a live show. I hope for a smooth transition, but sometimes technology doesn't allow for that. So we're going to go ahead and just be patient and try to get Dr. Greene on with us so we can learn more about her, her role, her college experience, and her advice. She has a leadership role at Gateway Community College and has had an interesting career journey. So I want her to tell us. It says she's unable to join. Can you see me, Dr. Greene? You're in. Okay, I'm reading your text message. Yeah, I think you might be in, but can't. I don't hear you. I don't hear you right now. You can see me. Can you hear me? Oh,
Hey,
okay.
can you
Here
hear me now?
we go.
Okay.
I love it when I can work through the hiccup. So we work through the hiccup and we're connected. We have Dr. Diaz on with us. So she was a guest a while back. So we were talking about your role at Gateway Community College. So before we get started with the questions that I sent you, I want to give you an opportunity to introduce yourself and tell the folks about your role.
I'm Kelly Greene. I am the Dean of Liberal Arts, Sciences, and Learning Support at Gateway. And previous to that, for 7 years, I was English faculty and the Faculty Senate President-elect, and then the Faculty Senate President and the CDF. So I've just been in the Dean role for almost a year. It'll be a year at the end of May.
Well, awesome. So for folks who are not in higher education, tell us what you do. What does your day look like? What type of responsibilities do you have?
Well, I guess it depends. So there's a lot of different things that are happening, meetings and work outside of the meetings. We're creating things, innovating. We've recently created strategic scheduling guides, meeting with chairs to see what their scheduling is like, kind of capturing what we already do, and then working to see if we can make scheduling easier and better and what stakeholders we need to include. We're going to be doing the same thing with our dual enrollment program, is creating a guide for what that looks like at Gateway and how we want to engage with our high schools and how we can engage with our faculty who go out to those campuses. So we're kind of reworking and rethinking some of those things. Working on 40X, we've been doing that at Gateway, I think, for over 4 years or 4 years now, and creating planning, strategic planning and academic planning. So every day is a new something, I think.
Great, great. So, Gateway Community College, what type of programs are offered at Gateway Community College? Like, what would a potential student be able to achieve at Gateway?
We have a lot of occupational programs, both in the clock hour side and in the credit side. So we have healthcare and health sciences is probably our biggest, most noticeable programs. We have PTA, physical therapy assisting. We have one of our nursing programs is at Gateway. We have massage on our clock side.
Oh,
We have beauty and
oh,
wellness
I
on our
love
clock
massages.
side. Yeah, you can get those at Central
I
City
can
now for,
go there.
yeah,
Uh-huh.
I have too.
Yeah,
Yeah, and you can get your hair done. We have all those services. We have automotive, both on the clock and the credit side. We have a water program. We have IT and accounting and business programs. So there's a vast array, but I think we're known for our occupational health sciences,
I
allied
would
health.
agree. I would agree. So if you're interested in allied health programs, check out Gateway Community College. They offer some great opportunities and certifications. And if you wanted to, you can get your associate's degree and transfer to ASU.
That's right.
Okay, so let's go ahead and go into our 7 questions. So first question, what was one of your biggest struggles and how did you manage it?
One of my biggest struggles, I went to 7 different high schools, and so I was
Wow.
underprepared for college. So I was really nervous about entering. And I went to Mesa Community College in 1992, right out of high school, and I tested into developmental math. I had kind of a sporadic high school experience, and I was really nervous that I wasn't going to be able to do any of the work. So I went in with a lot of anxiety and trepidation about being good enough to even be a college student, because I felt disconnected from an educational experience. It was incomplete and sporadic. And then how did I manage? Oh my gosh. It just was one class at a time, one day at a time. It was asking questions and um, trying to kind of figure out how I could be successful. A lot of my struggles were getting there, and my car had an unreliable transportation at a 1980 Buick Skylark, and it didn't have any air conditioning, and it was in
Oh,
Phoenix.
oh no.
So every time I got in it, if it hit any kind of bump, any speed bump, and you know how many speed bumps are in Mesa Community College, it would stall. So it would just stop running. And I started.
No.
So there was just a anxiety in getting there. Should I even be there? But once I got there and in it, one of the best classes I ever took was a philosophy class. The allegory of the cave. I still remember that core memory of sitting in a lesson at Mesa, learning about that and really thinking like this was my thing, that going to college was going to be my thing, even if I was underprepared.
Right. And I love what you said about, even if you were not prepared, you just stick with it and taking it one day at a time because college is so overwhelming. If you look at all the classes you have to take and the credits, I mean, it's overwhelming. So just taking it a day at a time. I love that advice. So I love that you were able to succeed. That's how you managed. And thank you for sharing that with us. Question 2, what advice do you have for anyone considering going to college as a working adult?
I went back to college as a working adult. So I went when I was 18 and I made it for about a semester. And then I had my son, who's 30 now, but I didn't go back to college until I was 23. And he was, I think it was 4 or 5. And you have to think of childcare, you had to think of cost, you have to think of the time commitment. And I literally made a list. So I had a townhouse. I lived in Tampa at the time. And I made a list of the pros of why I should go to school, go back to school. And then I made a list of pen and paper list of the cons. And being a working female parent, a single parent, you have to have this balance between doing things for yourself and doing things for your kid. And it's never a good look if it looks like you're only out for your own self. So that was on my con list, like the perception that I'm not doing enough or invested enough in my child was a concern of mine. So I the cons were significant, right? They stuck to me, but the pros, the benefits, even though I couldn't see them, I knew that they were there, and I didn't know how they would play out, but it's this benefit versus risk. And I do that now in everything is, do the benefits of this decision, of this job, of this situation outweigh the risk, outweigh the downside? Um, and sometimes in the moment, it feels like they don't, like the risk to yourself or to your family might be too great, or to your income or your finances. But when you know something inside you that will benefit you in the long run, it's this blind faith, I think, that you take in yourself. And it's hard to explain to people because you just have to do it in order to get to the other side of the con list.
I love that, Dr. Greene. I feel like you're like my sister. Like I'm peppering your salt and pepper, because that's exactly what I did. I got the paper, I got the list, but I was more into the budget. I was a single parent in college too, and have a similar story. And I kept showing my dad this list about the bills that I had and what I'd be able to do. If I got a student job, and I just went over and over, and I said, I really want to go back to school. And he just took the paper one day and he just crumbled it up. And he said, don't show me any more of those papers. But I think that is a good exercise. If you're evaluating whether or not you want to go back to college, it's a scary thing. You're going to be afraid. But as long as you take it one day at a time and you have that con list, because if you can keep your eyes on the prize, like I knew I didn't want to live at the income I was living at. I think money was my factor. And then also being able to tell my child to go to college. How can I encourage them if I didn't do it?
Yeah. And
Right. So
I brought him to all my graduations. And when you're going to community college, you can't really see that far in the future. So it's taking your gen eds and thinking, I know I was going to transfer to University of South Florida, but bringing him to places, to the library, a couple times when he didn't feel well, he sat outside the door and waited while I took a quiz. I took him places to kind of get him acclimated and to know where I was when I wasn't there, because there's nights and for years that I had to go to class.
yeah, my kids, the same thing. They've been on college campuses since they were 5 or 6, and I think that that's a good experience. Like there's some graduation things that are coming up. I have a 10-year-old son now, and I'm going to take him. I was just ordering him another suit. He's getting pretty tall, so I'm going to make sure, and when we have those opportunities to bring our kids on campus. And speaking of that, that's a way to finance your education. If you get a job on a college campus, not only is your tuition free, there's an opportunity to bring your kid to different events to kind of make college a norm for them. So I think that that's another good thing about bringing kids on campus and involving them in our experiences, letting them know that we are there for them and what we're doing is ultimately, for them and not for us.
Yeah,
so I love that
worked
point.
at the post office at the university, and I delivered the mail to the dorms in a little truck for a while.
Oh, wow. That's a cool job. Yeah, yeah. Okay, question 3 of 7. What do you think institutions could have done better to support you as a working adult?
I can't remember if it was my master's degree or my undergraduate degree. My undergraduate degree is in television production, and so I have a background in that. And I remember taking my first online class, and it was a psychology class, and it allowed me to work at it for mastery. So you could take these quizzes and then you could retake them and learn from your mistakes. So I would take notes and then retake it. And it was the first online class that I ever took on my computer. Do you remember Gateway computers? They're like a cow or something. It was my
Yeah.
first computer I ever
Wow.
bought. Yeah, and I remember thinking like if I could take more online classes, then I could balance my son's soccer schedule and I could actually go to his practices instead of kind of asking my friends or people that I know to pick him up and drop him off because I had to go to class. So one of my dissertation is online learning, but it's become such a passion for mine because it creates access not only for working parents but for anybody. And so the quality of online instruction, I think, is something that people in colleges can work on, and we are. And it's a focus of so many and so many online classes that I've observed and taken have been magnificent. But had there been more, I think that it would have alleviated some of that struggle of the balance between single parenthood and college student.
I love that answer. And so, if you're listening, and if you're thinking about, or if you're watching this on recording, please remember online options. There are degrees, entire degrees that you can get from your home. So you physically don't have to go to a space and leave your family if that's not an option. So look into some of the programs that are online. They don't even have to be in your state. So that's an option, and that's how I also completed my MBA and my PhD. Took some of those online and some in person to help balance the familial responsibilities that we have as mothers. But thank you for that response. Great answer.
Welcome.
Question 4: is there an instructor or college staff that was instrumental in encouraging you to continue in school? If so, what did they do to make an impact on you?
I jotted down notes before I came on here, but there were several because there wasn't one person in particular. It was
Oh,
a
that's good.
series of a couple of instructors. And I had to leave early to pick my son up from somewhere. And I was at the University of South Florida in my undergraduate program.
Okay.
And I was taking a mythology class, and we were watching a movie. And I had to leave a little early. And I approached my professor, and I was, nervous. And I didn't talk to professors very frequently, and I tried to avoid it at all costs.
Right.
And so I approached her and I said, I have to pick my son up, and is it okay if I leave 10 minutes early? And she looked at me like she was stunned, and she said, "You are such a good student. Take any time that you want." It was the first time that anybody told me that I was a good student, or maybe even good.
Yeah.
And so I was like, oh. And so, I mean, I rode down the elevator just feeling really light, like, okay, like that felt really good. And then another one in my undergrad when I was in, I think it was a television writing class or writing for radio. And we had to do scripts and then present them and perform them. And the woman, I think her name was Flanagan, she pulled me inside and said, "You are such a great writer. I want to try to get you a job writing the news for a radio station." And the times didn't work out because I had a child, so I can't work at random times.
Yeah.
But it was the first time that anybody ever told me that I was a good writer. So I had good student and good writer now, like, banked. And another one of my master's degree professors I had broken my hand, the side of my hand and my pinky. And I went to her office because it was the first day of summer classes, and they were short. And it was a graduate program. And I said, I can't make it. I was crying. I can't make it. I broke my hand. I was feeling very, very sorry for myself. And she said, "I think you just need a Cuban sandwich." So she brought me into the faculty lounge, and she gave me her Cuban sandwich from lunch. And she said, "Just eat this sandwich. I'll come back and check on you in like 20 minutes. So I ate this woman's sandwich, and she said, she came back, my tears had dried up, and she said, "All right, you ready? Let's go. I have a broken hand." And she said,
The
"It'll be all
sandwich is
right.
supposed to fix it.
It'll be all right." So I went to class for 3 hours with a broken hand. And I mean, I'm glad that she didn't buy into it. She didn't say, "Oh my God, you should go." She said, "Oh my God, you should stay." and I'm going to give you my sandwich. And she was instrumental in kind of getting me to that point where I knew that I could take a lot of emotional nonsense
Right.
and still come out the other side. So it was one of the most impactful classes that I ever took, and I valued that experience.
Wow. Love that answer. I'm going to stop for a second and kind of go through the comments to see if I see anything. It says Rocket Girlfriend. So
I
you
think I
have
saw
some
my daughter
folks watching.
pop a comment in there. So shout out to Lily having my back in the other room.
Someone said, wow, she's such an inspiration. I love this. I think this lady knows what she's talking about.
That's Lily. Yeah.
Okay. And I have Miss Tori, who is actually a teacher. She said, while everyone is waiting, if you have young children, don't forget to sign them up for the summer reading program with the Phoenix Public Library. So we want to make sure that people know about that opportunity, and we'll make sure we have something in this broadcast about that. Okay, so let's go ahead and go to question 5 of 7. If anything, what would you have done differently along your college journey?
Um, okay. Is that 5 or 6?
I may have mixed them up the
Okay.
way that I have them. It is 5.
Okay. I'll do it then. Okay. What would I have done? I thought about this and I didn't even write anything down for it because I don't know if I would have, because everything is a piece of how you come out of it. So whatever it was, even if it was terrible, and I had, professors I could never please, and I got a B. What would I have done differently? I wish that I had the confidence I have now then. Um, I wish that I could have, kicked the door in and sat down and was ready to learn, but I wasn't. I was absolutely terrified. And my older daughter's in college, and it's, she's texting me daily of, the struggle, it's this, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I was there. It's absolutely agonizing. And the stress and the failing grade you get every now and again. But I don't know. I think it built into me a toughness that other experiences have grown. But I mean, I could kick a door in now, but I
Right.
don't know.
It's
I don't know if I could have if I hadn't have really gone through it.
right. Right. I think the experience of pursuing college, because college kicks your butt. And I think that's why we're stronger and we feel like we can kick down doors, because we can. College shows you how tough you are, right? It pulls everything out of you. If you're going to pass this class, you're going to give me your late nights. You're going to give me your early mornings. You're going to do this thing tired. So we did it scared. We did it tired. We did it not knowing what the next step looks like, right? So you take the next step. You don't need to see the whole staircase. Just take that next step. So yeah, thank you for pursuing and for being in the space that you are in now and supporting students the way that you do.
Yeah, and it will humble you in a way that will knock your ego right out of you.
Right. Right. And we talk about the testing, and you talked about the developmental courses that you test into. That's almost heartbreaking because you have to take classes. What we're talking about is when you take a placement test at a school to start your general ed courses, they're going to know what skills you have. So they give you these tests, and some of the courses that you may have to take are under the 100 level, so they don't transfer to the university. So you're taking courses to get caught up. They count at the community college level, but you need to have them count towards your graduation. So if you test into something that's under 100, most people do. A lot of people do that's been out of school for a while. Just take the courses. The time will pass and you'll be able to do it. So I too tested into developmental courses and had to kind of dig my way back up to those 100 level courses. Okay, so let's go ahead and go to question 6. What was the funniest thing that happened to you while in college?
When I was at the University of South Florida, I was in one of those gatekeeper classes where they make them so that people drop out of the program if they're not smart enough to pass it. And it was a law class. So it was a communications law, because my degree was in mass communications. And it was tough. And we come into class, everybody sits in the same spot, and there's this kid in the back, and he looks like he's sleeping. And the instructor's like, and he's in someone's seat, right? Not technically, but that's where they usually sit. And the instructor's like, hey, you know, you're going to have to get out of here if this isn't your class. Well, he's not moving. He just looks like he's asleep. And she says it again and again. And at this time, you know, there's like 35 people turned around looking at this person, and he didn't move. And so we thought he had passed out. So she called the paramedics. The ambulance is there, the paramedics are there, there's like campus
Wow.
security. And she's like, the instructor, the professor's like, okay, well, they do that. Scooch your desks up. And she just keeps on talking about law.
Are you serious?
Keeps on. So we're like taking notes.
Like,
We're like
over here.
back. Like there's somebody being wheeled out on a gurney, and she's just talking about law. Well, I had another class after that, and I was talking about it animatedly, like with another group of students, and I was like, I can't believe that she kept going. Hand on my shoulder. She was standing right behind me, so I'm like on and on and on about how I can't believe it, and she's right behind me. And I'm like, oh, I'm
No,
like,
that's
now I
the
know who my
icing on the
friends
cake.
are. Nobody was like,
Oh my gosh,
yeah,
that is hilarious. But at least she knew how you felt, right? She knew how you felt. But you know, she had an agenda. You know how it is when you're teaching and the lesson plan. You got to stick to that lesson plan.
she said it was because she didn't want to embarrass him. But he was
Oh,
unconscious. He was in diabetic shock.
oh my gosh. Oh, I hope he's
I'm
okay. I hope he's
sure.
okay.
Yeah. It was
Yeah,
like,
but her
hopefully it was like 30
actions are,
years ago.
yeah, her actions were really funny. I don't know if I could have done that. I probably would have just panicked and dismissed the class so they
I know.
wouldn't
I
be
would have been like, bye, this
traumatized.
is, forget
Yeah,
it. Yeah.
yeah,
But it
that's
was
hilarious.
so bizarre.
Okay, thank you for sharing that funny story. So I'm going to ask Dr. Greene the last question. So anyone who's listening live, if you want to type in a question into the comment section, we'll try and get to that after she responds to the last question. Okay, question 7 of 7. How has college changed your life?
Um, it's changed every aspect of it. It's all I ever really wanted to do. So I was pretty good in school. It came kind of naturally to me once I work at it, but it showed me again how much I can take and how to regulate and how to get through something that's incredibly difficult, but not only monetarily in the wages that you make as a college graduate, but what I tell my girls too, it isn't always about how smart you are, it's about how savvy you are. It's about how you can navigate situations in a way that makes you have to think differently and forge a new path. That's how it's changed me. It's innately a part of who I am. But and it's not only college. I mean, along with all of the other crap that life throws at you, it's helped me kind of rise above a little bit of the fray so that I can be confident in what I know and understand the perspectives of other people. So, like, education makes you pause before you speak and listen closer. And always, I went to a Harvard workshop, and the woman who was teaching it gave this little card out, and I have it at work on my bulletin board, and it says, check again, you may be wrong. So I always try to remember that no matter how much I know and how much I think I know, I might be wrong. So I need to always be paying attention.
I love that answer because it's true. The more you know, the more you realize what you don't know,
Yep.
right? And it's like that's what's perplexing me now. It's like you can never know it. And when you hear people say, "Oh, I know this, I know that," they typically don't know a lot, and they're just trying to make themselves seem smart. People who are truly educated are open-minded, and they're going to say, "Well, I think this is what my opinion is. What do you think?" Right? So I just love what it does and what you've described, especially the financial security piece of it, because as women, many times single parents, we know that they live in poverty, right? And so many people don't realize at a certain income, you can go to college for free. The Pell Grants are going to take care of the community colleges. So let's think about how it can change your life and focus on that. And as you're working through those difficulties as students, just keep your eyes on the prize and realize that there will be an end. So Dr. Greene, I don't have any questions in my chat. My moderator said there are no questions tonight. So I want to thank you for being on. But before I let you go, I want to ask you, is there anything else that I didn't ask you that could add to the conversation or you think would be helpful to anyone thinking about going to college or in college who may be struggling a little bit?
I always did tell my students when I was teaching that there's probably a million reasons why you shouldn't go, but there's a million more why you should. And you don't know what the outcome's going to be. And I didn't know I was ever going to be a teacher. It's not what I intended to do. It kind of pushes you into areas and into networking, into people, and to topics or disciplines that you might not had considered, because I was going to work in television production, but then I became a teacher, and little things in life will kind of push you in a direction that you didn't know was meant for you. And this was meant for me, and I had no idea. Zero, never ever wanted to be a teacher, never. I wouldn't have known
I love
that
that.
unless I took that step.
I love that. And that supports the idea of changing your major. Just because you start down one path, you may do something to say, hey, I thought I wanted to take this, and you take a class. It's okay to pivot. Those classes can be electives. So just as we've changed our careers, you may change your major. It's all okay. You know, we're all learning. So thank you for adding that. That's so valuable, and I think it's inspirational too. So I want to bid you a good night, and thank you again for being a guest on my show.
Thanks, Michelle.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye. So that concludes the 71st episode of Conversations About College. I want to thank you for joining me tonight. Again, I have a 4-week online college success course at theeducationplug.com. I will see you on my next show. I go live on most Wednesdays at 6 p.m. And thank you and have a good evening. Bye-bye.